Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Today, folks, I'm going to share with you another watch by the killer watch company, Ballast. Now, Ballast, in my opinion, is a micro-brand watch company. When I say micro-brand, I mean they're not mainstream, right? You're not going to go into some of your big box stores in the mall and find, to the best of my knowledge, Ballast watches. So, in my opinion, this is the epitome of a micro brand, right? Some folks in the watch community will say you have to, it has to not be in any store. They can be really nitpick that whole term. In my opinion, micro brand, right? You pretty much have to go and get them directly from Ballast themselves, or you can find them on Amazon. And I don't use Amazon, even though Amazon is sort of a big box website, right? I don't consider them a big box store just because a company is actually on Amazon doesn't, I guess, take it out of the micro brand category. You know what I mean? So again, you may share a different opinion. That's mine, and I'm sticking to it. So today I want to share with you guys their Amphion. So the Amphion watch is this bad boy I got right here on the wrist. Let me just go show you guys a quick close-up here. We're going to take it off and do a couple more close-ups, but I just want to kind of entice you with this bad boy. So, all right. So the Amphion, just reading the description right off the Ballast website, it's a Amphion class serve. It says the Amphion class served the Royal Navy for almost 3 decades at the backbone of the Royal Navy submarine service. These diesel-electric submarines were designed for use in the Pacific War. Only 2 were completed before the end of the hostilities, but following modernization in the 1950s, they continued to serve the Royal Navy into the 1970s. So a little write-up about the theme behind this watch. And one thing I've stated in other videos, Ballast just needs to work on their delivery of this theme, right? So let me just take this off. Let me just show you guys. We're going to talk more about that. And the reason I like to do this, and to be honest with people watching, and of course be honest with the company, is that Ballast is basically a themed company, right? They're very military inspired, right? They're very warship, battleship, submarine, nautical inspired timepieces, right? And I can completely understand having a theme, and I absolutely love having a theme in watches. It's a lot more fun in this hobby of collecting watches to have something that has sort of a story to it, And especially when you're gifting something to somebody, for anybody who's kind of like a military buff, somebody who really likes, Navy warships and Navy-related war, vessels. What a cool way to, I guess, kind of blend tastes together, blend hobbies together with watches, right? Somebody who's really into, history and war vessels and seagoing vessels like that. They may have never really thought about even buying a watch, but what a great gift to get somebody something like this. Like my father, he's really into World War II, weapons and military shows and the History Channel, and this is just a great gift for somebody like that, right? So let's first start off with the unboxing. You guys know I never really do too many unboxings. I already, like I'm a kid on Christmas morning. But I do have the box, of course, came in. And the cool thing about Ballast, they really have thought out their presentation as far as, when you pull it out of that cardboard box and let's say you're going to even to gift to yourself, right? It's kind of like an experience. So this is your standard dive style case. Now, you might have seen something like this before. It's kind of themed. A lot of micro brand companies like Delta T and who else? Definitely not Invicta's not really micro brand, sort of, or definitely not micro brand, right? Because you can find them in stores. But a lot of companies use this kind of dive style case. And these are really just kind of Pelican cases. The thing about other watch manufacturers is when you see cases like this, by a lot of the brands that I have reviewed, they're more of the hard plastic. So they still serve a purpose. You can still reuse them. I use them for stuff when we're going on the boat and go get out there boating to keep our cell phones in. If we were to go overboard or something were to happen, you can protect your electronics. But the only problem with some of those cases is that they're more of again, a harder, rigid plastic where I could see if I were to drop those things, you might crack it. With this is definitely more in line with some of your Invicta cases and more of your Pelican style cases, the ones you find at Harbor Freight, any Pelican style box. This is more of a softer impact resistant case. So really great that you get to have something like this and then be able to use it. This perfect size for a cell phone. Naturally, it's not something you're going to want to carry it around with you, but if you're going camping and you want to protect your goods you know, again, electronic items, battery chargers, you can use it, or you can just use it to store the watch. But I like the fact that it is a usable case, and this is something that does have an element of, you know, protection for whatever you're going to put in here. So we pop this open, and I like this a lot more than, honestly, some of the Invicta boxes, because the Invicta boxes, what do you have to choose from? You have the single case, which is really only good for a watch, which is, I'm not knocking it, you know, but you can't really reuse it for anything that's, you know, of substantial size. Or you have the big giant ones, you know, which is great for, like, you're going to shoot and you can layer some foam in there and reuse them. But I like this because it's kind of an in-between size, right? We open this sucker up. We do have a couple different notched out slots. This is not really a foam. It's more of like a harder, almost like rubberized foam, definitely more rigid. You could pop this out if you wanted to, you know, put in your own foam or whatever, but if you want to keep your watch in it, of course, just leave it alone. Now, let's talk about this spot here. So you pop this open, you have your Ballast Amphion logo. We'll just put that back on there. You guys know I never really get too involved in showing you the box, but I do want to mention something here with this particular presentation. I love the fact that when you open this up, you feel like you have an experience, right? You have your watch, you have your bracelet, which is the one that's on the watch right now. Then, of course, you have sort of like a leather, I believe this is like a leather, yeah, like a leather band. Leather strap done in this particular color. I had the blue version, so you get that kind of more of like a slate blue, or like a kind of a washed out blue. Then you get a silicone strap, which is, from what I can tell, sometimes companies use isoframe. Let me see what this is. No, so just standard silicone strap. You know, and you have the push pins on it, which are actually push pins. You don't need to use a spring bar remover, but I'll tell you, you know, for me, I have a hard time getting my nail in there for changing those bands out, so I still use the you know, push pin remover. And then, of course, you know, again, your area for the watch. Now, let me just get to what I'm trying to avoid is the downside of this box. The only thing I don't like about this presentation is if you want to store the watch back in the box, you got to take the band off or your bracelet off. So there's really no room in here to really store the watch properly. Even if I move some of these around like so, let me just pop this out here. If I were to put the watch back in here on the foam, you can put it in a different spot here, put it right in the center, and then you'll be able to close it, okay? But it doesn't leave a lot of room for you to really squeeze the other ones in here. It overhangs a little bit. But still, I mean, not a big deal. You can still store it in there, but now you have this big open space. So I think it would have been a little bit nicer to keep the watch, maybe have the watch come with one strap or bracelet on the watch in the center, and then just have these two spots for the bracelet. Again, this is a very small pet peeve, just a very small suggestion, really. You may feel differently. You may want to store your watch in the box, you know, not on the bracelet. You can do that. I think it's just a little bit, makes a little bit more sense, because most people aren't going to get this and then just go ahead and leave the watch off the bracelet, right, or off the strap. So what you're left with is just a big open space. So I think it's just, I think on the next go around on watches, if they are going to do anything like this, is just to avoid having a spot for the actual case, right, the actual watch. Just give 3 slots. That's all you really need, right? But nonetheless, a very small gripe. Pretty cool box again, nice quality. Great way to protect your watch, and you have the Ballast logo right on the top there. I like the fact that, again, the Ballast brand, and of course they're under Dartmouth brands. They also have like Nubeo watches, which I reviewed in the past. Similar kind of stuff with their other boxes. They either come in like the hardwood. The Nubeo came in like a cardboard. Again, it depends on what you buy, but I like that in these die style case, they're giving you a case that's of really great quality. So now let's get to the watch. So again, I showed you the strap variations. If you are a kind of guy who likes to change up the look, you can do that. You know, I think a lot of times with these push pins or these spring bars, you know, I'm kind of a nail biter, so I never really have much of a nail to get under there. If you do, this might be easier for you, but I always find it easier when trying to hold this together to use a spring bar tool. I think that this is kind of their attempt at making a quick release style strap or bracelet on these watches, and ultimately I think most people, I don't know, I could be wrong. For me, I'm a bracelet guy, so I probably won't be putting those straps on the watch. So although I think it's great that it comes with those options, you know, it really just depends on the person. I think that you know, making the system really easy to pull these bands on and off Again, easy is subjective. For me, it's not much different than just using a standard spring bar. You still have to use a tool. But again, that might be something you find, totally the opposite. It just depends, right? For me, I love it on the bracelet, and that's why generally I only wear bracelet style watches. It doesn't mean I don't have watches that are on strap or on leather or on silicone, but I just feel like, it's a little bit flashier, and it kind of matches my personality a little bit more. I just like the feel of steel on the wrist. So let's talk about the steel. So we have 316 stainless steel. We have 48 millimeter case diameter, so you have a nice size, nice wrist presence here. Nothing too small, but nothing too over the top. 16.8 millimeters in case thickness. Really nice tall wrist presence. And again, that is subjective. When we're used to those big, giant, oversized dive watches, this may not be that big, but it does have a nice presence. And I like a wrist to feel masculine, to feel big and bold and beefy. And again, it doesn't have to be 55 millimeter to get that look. You can still get that vibe with a smaller watch. So I like the fact that it's a 48 millimeter watch, not too big, not too small. Again, sometimes I don't always want to wear a big giant watch. This gives you a nice watch right in between. What else? This is powered by a Miyota automatic movement. It's the 8215. From what I can tell, that's the movement they use in a lot of their automatic watches or automatic movements they use in their watches. I think you might find a few other movements, but generally the 8215 is one I've seen repeat quite a bit. This watch is available in a couple different color variations. I did originally request kind of a unique tone. It's it's still 316 stainless steel, but it's done kind of like almost like a copperish bronze brown color, they call it. They have it in all black, which is pretty tack-like. The green, the blue, and the black. So for me, I have a lot of black face watches, so I wanted something a little bit different. And the blue is nice royal blue. I like it a lot. Great loom on this. They don't mention the loom, which again, they need to, because that is a checkbox for a lot of watch collectors. What do I always say? What are the checkboxes? What kind of movement? What kind of case and bracelet materials? What kind of loom? And what kind of crystal? Those are the four big ones. And I think that they need to put the loom on here so people know. I can tell you though, the loom's pretty good. I know that is subjective, but when I compare it to a lot of the Aragons and Invictas, it's better. The watch I always reference as far as having great loom is Steel Dive and Aqua Dive. I think this is a close second. The loom is really good on it, and you can see just without, we're in the middle of the day here, it does kind of have that greenish kind of hue to it, and I think that this is kind of similar to what Aragon uses. To me, it seems like it's a little bit brighter, but I haven't really side-by-side tested them, so just kind of take that statement with a grain of salt. Ballast logo on the clasp, dual push-button fold-over deploying clasp. I like these more in the friction. You feel like you have a solid, once it's on, it's on. There's nothing going to wear out in that, in my opinion. I do have the Ballast logo on the case back. Threaded case back, non-exhibition window. I can go either way with exhibition. It's kind of cool to have an exhibition window, but to me, with a dive watch, having that durability of just solid stainless steel, I kind of lean a little bit more towards that. But again, I have many of both, so not really a deal breaker at all. You have a screw down crown, of course, rotating bezel, nice and smooth on this, and exceptional, I would call this a coin-edged bezel. Very easy to turn. Some watches, again, I don't think that's really an indication of quality. I think that if you turn a bezel on any watch out there, that's of, what do I always say about quality? You either have it or you don't. I think that people who do look for that in how it feels, and that's not really objective, you know what I mean? Feeling how something turns isn't something, you may say something like, oh, well, a lighter bezel to me means it's better quality. That's not really the case, but I do think if you like a bezel that turns really smooth without a lot of friction or any kind of a slippery grip, this is perfect. This is a very nice turning bezel, right on board with my $2,000 Aqua Dive, right? If you are a kind of person who looks at, if you're familiar with those watches, it's a micro-brand company that's, has a really great reputation. So when I look at watches like that, I look at this watch, I see the same watch. I see the same quality. So just kind of keep that in mind. And again, that is the 8215 Miyota. Screw down crown. You do have a day of the month indicator or window. There is no magnification, but I don't really have a problem seeing that. And of course, on the side here, you might be wondering what is that. So this is kind of a new addition for me. I have plenty of watches that have helium release valves, but I don't have manual helium release valves. So there's automatic and there's manual. So with this, now I'm not a diver, so this will never get used, but if one is a diver and you need to use the helium release valve to release the pressure, you basically just unscrew this. And it just basically pops out, and now you've released the pressure. So I've never actually seen a manual one before, probably because all the ones I have ever received or purchased have automatic helium release valve. Pretty cool they put it as a manual. It's just another design aspect. Most people aren't going to use any of this, but pretty cool watch, a really nice finish. Again, I can't really say that one's better than another when it comes to whether it be a Boulevard or a Ballast, an Invicta, an Aragon. These are all, again, once we hit that level of quality, we're there. Now, price point on this here, you're looking at $850. That is directly from Ballast website. I am always going to be honest with you guys, so I do encourage you just to click the link to go to Amazon if you want to buy this. You can get it on Amazon for $552. Now, I don't think that's the black version. I'm pretty sure it's just the green, the black, and the blue. I think there is a little bit of a premium you pay, but don't quote me on that. Actually, let's quote me on that. Let me go back. I'll go right to Amazon here and see. Yeah, so the black version is $585. The brown version sold out. So a little bit more. So $552 for the standard stainless steel version with the blue, green, or black face. And of course, you want the black. Generally, I've noticed with watches, you generally pay a little bit of a premium for the black plating. I don't know if it's like a DLC coating or whatnot, but the black's pretty sleek too. But knowing my own personality, I've had black watches in the past from like Delta T and other brands. And once I've gotten a black watch, I always years later say, I should have got the stainless. So this is just more my style. So you also have micro adjustments, 3 different micro adjustments on the side. That's great. Sometimes, I find when I size a watch, it's just a little bit too loose. This, I might actually go to the 3rd micro adjustment just to tighten it up a little bit. But, I haven't worn this for more than a couple days. So just a stunning piece. Very, again, very submarine style. That when I look at it, I just think submarine. The one thing I will say about Ballast watches, and I've mentioned it before, they are themed after, from what I can tell, 3 of the watches I reviewed now are submarine themed watches. The only thing that I can't really tell with Ballast watches is I can't really get an understanding of where these design aspects, how is it related to the actual, in this case, the Amphion class, right? Was there something on the in these class of submarines that make you look at this and say, oh, I see where that's coming from? Is this part of the only thing I kind of see is having the helium release valve and the crown. I kind of picture like a periscope almost, like the handles, you know what I mean? You're peeking through, I guess. That's kind of where my mind goes if I have to pick how this might relate to a submarine. And I mentioned it in a few of the other videos as well. I think this is such a great company and such a nice quality watch. And such a cool themed watch that I think that they're doing themselves an injustice just by not having the inspiration on the website on how this watch relates to the actual submarine. So I think that, again, this is how companies learn, and this is how we all grow, by listening to YouTube influencers, listening to people out there reviewing their products and giving them suggestions. So, but overall, fantastic quality watch. And for those who don't know, who have been watching me for a while, or maybe you're new to the channel, I have a 7-inch wrist. I weigh about 185 pounds. And this is what a 48mm watch looks like on a guy my size, my height, and my weight. It's really cool. I mean, I like I said, I really feel that the design of this kind of is meant to mimic like a periscope. Pretty awesome. I mean, it's a killer watch. I like how they've done around the, I guess that would be the 50 mark and the 55 mark, excuse me. They've done that kind of like a little bit of a yellow and red. I like that. I like how they have the big giant bright orange hour markers on here. Pretty cool, very easy to read, very easy to see. I think it's a stunning looking watch, and I think you guys will really appreciate it should you want to check out Ballast and add one to your collection. So again, I want to thank Ballast for the generosity of sending this to me. I absolutely love watches. This is a real addiction. So pretty awesome. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to drop me a comment or drop me an email. I'm always here to help. Again, link is in the description where you can check out this watch if you feel more comfortable buying it through Ballast Direct. Great. Otherwise, I'll put a link to Amazon where you can pick this up. Let me know if you pick one up. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day and take care.